Microsoft Excel, Blue Box 22. In this exercise, we'll learn how to insert headers and footers. If you heard what I just said, insert headers and footers, there's a reason why I use that language. If I go to Insert, Text, Headers and Footers, that's one of the ways in which I can get to add headers and footers in the pages that we are about to print out. I can also do it in the page layout view. The reason is this is specifically for when we would want to print something out. In the Mac version of Excel, we can see that once I get to the page layout view, I'm going to have a header and footer contextual tab once I click into one of the header boxes across the top. You can see that across the top there is a left section, a middle section, or center section, and a right section. In this exercise, you are asked to put the date into the leftmost section of the header. So we'll come up here and we'll put in the current date. We'll just simply click on current date. You'll notice that when I do that, it gives us a code. It's a syntax, which just means the specific text that we have to type in to let Excel know that this is a field. And what's meant by field is the fact that we're not going to print out ampersand in the brackets date, but rather it's going to actually figure out what the current date is and print that instead. You'll notice that when I hit the tab key, it goes ahead and tells you what the current date is, September 15th, 2025. In the case of typing in text that we might want to have in our header, I will type Indigo 5 and the Silver Moon Lounge. And if I type in and space the Silver Moon Lounge and I hit tab, you will notice that I lost the ampersand. The reason why is if we go back to the date field, you'll notice that fields start with an ampersand. That is the trigger that lets Excel know that a code is about to follow. When I do the ampersand and nothing follows, it thinks that it should be looking for a code, and it treats that first ampersand as if it's a code. That makes things difficult. What if we actually want, as in the instruction, to see an ampersand because that's the name of the club? Well, we just simply put in a second ampersand to follow. So Indigo 5 space ampersand ampersand space the Silver Moon Lounge. And that will achieve the desired look. Once I click tab, it'll take me to the right section of the header. You'll notice basically what a header is. A header is a set of text that repeats identically at the top or for a header, or bottom is a footer on each and every page that we print. There's one exception to that, and that's page numbers. Page numbers go in the header or footer, and the page number is the only thing that we will see that will change as you go from page to page. Otherwise, it would be exactly the same. In this particular case, what we're asked to do is we want to show how many pages or what page we're on out of the number of pages we should see. So what I like to see in this first one is it would say we would type in the page number, press the space bar to add a space, then type the word of, and then the space bar again, and then the number of pages. You can see that these are two choices up here, two fields. So it's going to be page number, space, OF, space, number of pages. So singular page field and then plural pages field second. All right, notice if I hit Shift Tab, it'll take me back to the Indigo 5. And what you're seeing is 1 of 3, 1 space of space 3. The 1 is what page number we're on, and the 3 says the total number of pages that would get printed out if we were going to do this. You'll notice if I move down to page 2, it says 2 of 3. So again, page numbers are the only text that change within a header or a footer. But you'll notice the page numbers, the total number of pages, remains the same. So everything else is printed exactly as we've shown in the first header, in subsequent headers as well, with the one exception of what page number we're on. The last thing that you're asked to do in this assignment is to move down to the footer. So if I'm in the header or footer section, and I have my contextual tab, I can click on Go to Footer. I could have just simply navigated to that as well. And here's something else that's important to note. Once I put it in one footer or one header, it's in all of them. So it doesn't matter which header or footer I'm in. Notice I'm currently on page 2 of 3, and it won't matter that I put it in page 2 or 3 or page 1 of 3. It's going to repeat on all of them. So in this case, we're asked to put in the file name. It is not uncommon for students to try to manually type out the file name, and that's not what is intended here. We want to use the field. That means anytime this file name were to change, then the field would automatically update, so we know exactly what file this has come from. So I'm going to click on file name. Notice you get the field, or that's ampersand, and then in brackets the word file. You don't have to remember the field codes. All you have to know is what the field codes are doing and use the selection up here in the various header and footer elements. That can, and let me just to prove to you, if I hit tab and notice we have our file name not only here in page 2, but we can see it, can scroll down well enough, page 3, and even back into page 1. We would also see that if we were to look at the print preview, but I think it's easier to see it in the page layout. Lastly, what we're going to do for this video, I think I said we were finished, but there is one more step that we could do, and that is I'm going to go to the food purchases worksheet. The book wants to show you an alternative way in which we could get to adding the same file footer that we had just seen in the appetizers menu worksheet. What if we want to do the same footer in food purchases? We could attack it the same way, and so this is really personal preference, but they wanted to show you an alternative way to add headers and footers. If I go to page layout and then to page setup, notice I've activated the food purchases worksheet. You'll notice that in the page setup dialog box, we have the ability to set the headers and footers. So if I click on my footer, you'll see that there are a whole host of choices for me. The one I'm going to choose is the one that's showing me my file name, and I'm simply going to click on that here. But I do need to be careful because it is putting it in the center. So, so let's click on custom footer instead. And so we can take that out of the center and instead explicitly put it in the left section. I just need to simply find which of these represents the file name. And you'll notice, like other instances, when I want to understand what a tool is or what a color is, I can hover and then we'll get its name. So notice the thing that looks like the icon for an Excel workbook is what's going to be our insert file name, or I could have manually typed in ampersand and put file in those brackets, and that would have been fine. I go ahead and hit OK. And OK, and you'll notice it's now on the left-hand side, which is exactly what we wanted. And again, we could have seen that if we went to the page layout. I could have simply scrolled down and put in that same ampersand and file in brackets, or I could have come up to my header and footer contextual tab and clicked on the file name. Notice that icon that we had in the custom footer section is the exact same button that we would have seen here in the contextual tab for headers and footers. And that concludes this blue box exercise.